What's up guys, and welcome back to another video on Trimix 2. Now as promised, in today's video I'm going to break down and show you all of the behind the scenes of my fake Fortnite movie trailer. So yeah, I'm gonna show you exactly how I made it, all of the different techniques I used, and yeah, as you guys can see, I have a bunch of project files opened right here. These are all different shots from the movie trailer, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys a bunch of the behind the scenes. So right here, this is the opening scene. So yeah, it starts up being focused on the John Jones sign on top of his table, and then slowly the background becomes visible. And once he actually puts that cup down, you can see that we are zoomed in on his face, and he's also talking. This might have looked a bit weird compared to the other facial animations in this trailer, because this was actually the first one I've ever done. I'm pretty new to animations, so I'm not the best at it yet, but yeah, I'm learning. For any of you who don't know how to basically animate or what even Blender is, I'll quickly demonstrate it for you right here. So this is the Fortnite character. It has a bunch of bones right here, and yeah, this is for example the corner of the lip, so this part right here, and if we move that, you can see it changes his face basically. And yeah, there's so many different bones for different parts of his head. And yeah, the jaw as well, you can make him talk, you know? It takes a while, but my most important tip if you want to try this yourself is do a reference video. Record yourself doing this exact motion, and then basically try to copy the mouth movements frame by frame. It takes a while, but the end product is definitely worth it. To make it a bit easier to animate, I actually parented the John Jones skin to the chair, so he moves with the chair. You can see if I turn around the chair, he moves with it. That just allowed me to concentrate more on his actual animation, rather than also animating like him rotating on the chair. Now a quick fun fact actually, when I first did this first scene, I actually had skyscrapers in the background. I later then removed it because I wanted to make it look as realistic as possible, and of course John Jones' office does not have skyscrapers in the background. But yeah, there you guys can see how they look, and I actually made every single one of them myself. It wasn't that complicated because I only had to make one floor and then I could basically copy it all the way up. I also designed like the entire roof as well. But yeah, all of those buildings, you couldn't really see them too well since they were kind of blurred out as well. And also overall, I just didn't really like how they looked in the scene. So yeah, I then later just replaced it with the wall right here and the frames. So yeah, the next scene is this hallway right here. I do have a breakdown of this showing the different stages of this room and basically how it all came together. But yeah, most of this building is actually just straight out of the files from the Season 3 event, I think. Or actually end of Season 2. The event with the flood where we actually got teleported into Agent Jonesy's office, the first time we actually got to see it. But yeah, I took that, moved some things around, added the elevator in the back, that actually wasn't there before. And then I added some IO gods that are just standing there or walking around. So yeah, the camera just moves through there, closer and closer to the elevator. And yeah, you can see IO gods walk around and IO gods just standing there. For the next scene, we have the elevator. So yeah, this elevator is actually inside of the Fortnite files. I did not make that myself. But yeah, what I did make myself is this animation of the visitor skin reloading his gun right there. You can see I animated this thing to go down, and then the bullet even pops out. You can barely see it with the motion blur as well. But yeah, try to make it look as realistic as possible. And what I love about this elevator is the mirrors. As you can see, the elevator has mirrors all around. And if I switch over to the cycles rendering mode, you can see how crazy this looks. Of course, this looks a bit trippy and you don't really know where to look, but once we are in the camera view, you can see I kept it pretty simple. There's only like one reflection of him visible. Then we have the scene with the elevator shaft right here. You can see this is how it looked. And yeah, this was actually quite simple. It's just a big elevator shaft. And you can see these walls right here actually have the same texture on the inside and on the outside. Basically made like one tile right here of the elevator wall. And yeah, then basically just multiplied it on the wall. Then for the ropes right here, I basically just made a sphere and made it really small and really thin, and then just put a rope texture on it. Then we have some bridge guiders out of the actual game. Yep, just stretched them out, made them really long. And you can see it looks pretty cool right here on the finished scene. For the lighting, I put 4 aerial lights on the side, on each side, and it gives like this really cool modern look to it. Then we have the scene right here where the 7 walk out of the elevator. You can see I just split the doors and yeah, then just animated it to slowly open. And here's just an IO god standing and one just walking past with his gun. And then both of them get shot, and here I actually took animations from Mixamo. If you don't know what Mixamo is, it's basically a website where you can upload your character and it automatically rigs it. And then you have tons of different animation presets, like for example this dying animation right here. You just click it, and then you can see how it looks. You can then just download it and put it into your scene. It's really cool because I believe most of them, or maybe even all of them, are done with motion capture suits, and just for simple animations like walking or running or dying, stuff like that is pretty hard to animate by hand. So yeah, Mixamo is really useful for that kind of stuff. And on the little breakdown of this scene, you can basically see that I used in-game shots, like a green screen, me standing in front of a green screen and shooting, and then I actually overlaid this with my scene, and this made the gunshots look really, not realistic, but really like Fortnite gunshots. And yeah, this really helped with the realism of the scene right here. We have a shot of John Jones. So yeah, this is what John Jones hears the gunshots, and then basically just looks a bit scared and confused. So yeah, once again did this by taking a reference of myself during this motion, and then basically just copying that frame by frame. Also you can see here, to save some memory, I always only cut out the actual, like everything that was shown in the scene, so I didn't have the entire building in that scene. That's a nice thing to do if you want to save memory and if your PC doesn't run that smoothly. This is then a scene where John Jones looks out of his blinds, and I really love this one. So actually with the animate add-on in Blender, you can sculpt things, but animate the sculpting. I just set a keyframe where it looked normal, and then I took the grab tool on the sculpting tab, and yeah, basically just took the blinds and pushed it down, as you can see right here. If you make the radius bigger, and yeah, then just push it down, it gives you a nice motion as if he was actually pushing down the blinds. As you can see, I animated it right here. If you move this keyframe, it pushes down faster or slower. Next up, a little breakdown of the scenes where the camera looks through the blinds and you see John Jones' face. And you can see that I kind of cheated a little bit. Basically to get this cool effect of the lines, the stripes of the blinds showing on his face, I actually placed a sun in front of the blinds. And yeah, then let it shine through to give this effect on it, but I didn't actually want to have the blinds in the scene yet. I had a separate file for this, where you can see I kind of took away his upper body, and just had his hand in there. And then I overlaid those two shots, because basically the light just didn't match for the blinds. As you can see right here, we have a different light setup for the blinds. To give this reflection on him with the stripes right here, I had to place the blinds a little bit closer to the sun, and yeah, then just separately put in the blinds. Now this is the scene of him looking out of the blinds and where he sees an IO guard run past. There's also another one where an IO guard gets shot and then falls down. But yeah, this is pretty simple. You can just see, kind of see his hand right here. Depth of field that the foreground is blurred and the IO guard in the back is not blurred out. And yeah, then right here the IO guard actually gets shot. And then in the background you can see the 7. You can see her. I actually animated this by hand. You can kind of see it. How she basically just puts down the C4. And yeah, in the background, just some dead IO guards as well to make it a bit more dramatic. One of my favorite scenes is where John Jones jumps away from the explosion. I sadly don't have the product file anymore, but for the explosion, I actually took one of the free explosions right here. These are free simulations created with EmberGen, and you can see, I think it is this explosion right here. The cool thing about this is that the animation is actually kind of like pre-rendered or baked. I don't know what exactly it's called, but this is basically just 131 frames of the explosion. So if you download this free one, you can actually go here, go add, go to volume, and then click right here. And then you gotta go to your downloads folder, find the animation, and then basically just click A to select every single one of them and then import them. And yeah, the cool thing about this is it basically plays in real time. So yeah, you can play around with it a bit, change the color, make it look like an explosion. So yeah, that's a really easy way to do an explosion. That's how I did that. And then we have the scene of the destroyed office of John Jones. Basically just put one of these broken walls out of the game in there. You can see everything laying on the ground. You can see I even put broken bricks right here, pretending like they came out of the wall or something. And then even animated some things, like the door falling down, the plant rolling over, basically just as if it is just falling down after the explosion. Once again, depth of field on the foreground, and then it switches to the background where you can see the 7. We have John Jones right here crawling for his life. That is the next scene then. And then we have the final scene with the rift gun, and that one was probably the most challenging scene out of all of them. On screen right now you can see a little breakdown of how I did the rift animation scene. Basically just a bunch of lens flares, bright stuff, and different other effects, which I'm going to show you right now here in After Effects. I actually used the Saber plugin right here to create some of these, and then these are like the main effects. This looks a bit boring, but like with all of the different effects, I just put a bunch of Saber effects on there. And you can see this isn't perfect, but it gets the job done. You can see without the lens flare and without the glow, it looks like this. So yeah, pretty boring. but once we add in the lens flare and the glow, you can see it looks a lot better and it makes the scene just look better overall. So yeah, this is the entire breakdown of my Fortnite movie trailer concept. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't watched it yet, check it out on my main channel. You can click on screen right now to watch it. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to Trimix 2 for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.